Hello and welcome to Squib TV. I'm Samuel Layton, joined by James Cartwright, and today we're going to be discussing
the Minnesota Vikings.
So the Minnesota Vikings last season started off very strongly, one of the only 4 teams in the league to remain unbeaten after the first 5 games. James, what happened to them after that?
Well, they completely collapsed and didn't make the playoffs. I think that's it in a summary. The Vikings know where it went wrong. They got Sam Bradford in at QB, and it was a disaster for them.
Yeah, so what exactly was it that went wrong for the Vikings?
They didn't have a running game. They didn't have production from the QB. The defence started up letting up points and not producing. Just generally everything, really.
Yes, it wasn't the strongest of seasons for the Vikings. However, they have made a few changes in this off-season, especially, like James has said, they didn't have a running game last season.
No.
Tell me what they've done, James.
They've brought in Dalvin Cook, they've drafted him in, and they've also brought in Latavius Murray from Auckland, which I think is going to be a strong part of the game next season. I wouldn't like to put the ball into Sam Bradford's hands as I've been thrown up the field. I don't think he's the strongest at doing that. So rely heavy on your running game and hard defence, because they have one of the best defences in the league. I think that's undoubted. So this is going to be a classic NFL side from the Vikings next season, I feel.
Yeah, they do have receivers that can make plays.
They do.
Players like Stephon Diggs, one of the best young receivers in the league, I think. They do have a decent quarterback in Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for all of you Vikings fans there who probably would have been hoping to hear us talk about Teddy Bridgewater, he's injured himself again.
Yeah.
And the Vikings are actually not picking up his final year option. So it's probably looking like the Vikings are going to go in a different direction at quarterback. Sam Bradford for this year, maybe next year they'll pick someone up in the draft. But unfortunately, Teddy's career looks like it's going down the pan in Minnesota after 2 promising years. But yeah, Sam Bradford can certainly do a job for them. With those 2 running backs now, James mentioned Dalvin Cook, some off-the-field issues with him, but the talent is there. And then someone like Latavius Murray, who's had a number of good years now at Auckland. What about the defence? You mentioned the defensive side of the game. Anyone they've picked up there? Anything major they've done there? Or is it just that they had a good defence?
I think it's just they have a good defence in general. I mean, the only player I can think of who's going to make big plays next season is Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah, I was going to mention him
one of the main guys. And if he can get them interceptions, get them TDs, it's a big part of their game. So the Vikings, decent side.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things for the Vikings. I think whilst it's all well and good having an offense that can score touchdowns, every team would like one of them. The Vikings turn up and they've got a defense that can score touchdowns, and I think that's something that can be a difference maker when it comes to the National Football League. James, anything else you want to add? What do you think they're going to be? How do you think they're going to end this season? Do you think they're going to do all right?
They remind me of, and I was thinking this and talking about the good start last season, they remind me of the Atlanta Falcons last season, because they had a good season, 2015, good start, didn't make the playoffs, and then did make the playoffs and got to the Super Bowl, which they narrowly lost. I think the Vikings, they get a solid defence in there, production from that defence, production from the offence, potentially could win that division.
Well, that's high praise, Vikings fans. James Cartwright obviously thinks that you guys are going to do well. Hopefully his words come true, unless you're a Packers, Lions or Bears fan, in which case you hope that he's talking absolute rubbish. If you are a Vikings fan and you want to let us know what you think of what James and I have said, or if you completely disagree with us or have any more opinions, please feel free to comment. Don't forget to subscribe. We are Squib TV.
It's a touchdown.